Right. Now we have creditors. So this is your creditors control account in your general ledger on the 30th of November 2023. So you have now recorded all of your source documents in your subsidiary journals, and this is your creditors control account. When looking at this, you should already see something went wrong, because I have a balance on the debit side, but I know that creditors are liabilities. So if I owe them money, then surely the balance should be on the credit side. Okay. Then I also made some purchases. I made some returns, and returns means that I owe my creditors less. So this should be a debit. They allowed discount when I made payment. And then I also had some GJ transactions. So clearly this is wrong. And that's why the first piece of information, or the first question, is you must correct the creditors control account in the general ledger and balance the account correctly. Once you are done with that, you must take into account all of the errors that they had within their financial records to then calculate the correct creditors list. Okay, so take into account the errors and omissions provided in C and prepare the following. First of all, the correct creditors. Second of all, correct creditors control, and second of all, the correct creditors list. So we will start with our creditors control account. Where's my answer booklet? There we go. Okay, so first of all, there we go. The balance is on the correct side. There we have it. Then next up in our ledger account is bank CPJ. That is correct. My bank decreases my creditors. Therefore, therefore it should be on the credit side. But I know that in grade 10, I've learned that it should now be bank and discount. 32,400 is what I'm starting with, as recorded in the CPJ. Next up, journal debits. That is correct. It should be on the debit side. So journal debits, because I am on that debit side, as recorded in my GJ. Then I move on to my credit side. Sundry purchases. Yes, indeed, it should be on the credit side. Sundry purchases. I owe them more money, and I started on 45,700 in the CJ. Starting with, in other words, these are the amounts before I've taken into account errors and omissions. Then sundry returns means that I now owe them less. So sundry returns, 2,108 in the CAJ. And then discount. See, your discount received must be added to your bank here in the CPJ. And then we also had some journal credits. And that is 1,290 in the GJ. Right, so that's our starting point. It's just, first of all, fix the incorrect creditors control account. Then we have the following creditors by month end. So we go to our creditors list, and it already tells us that there's the first guy's starting balance, the second one starting on 1,300 before taking into account information C. So we always start with our incorrect balances, and then we just fix whatever went wrong. So 4,640. And then the last guy here, Summer, we owed him, and we didn't owe him 260, he owed us 260. Righto. Now, errors and omissions. Invoice 196 received from one of our creditors for 1,480 was posted to the account of another creditor. Okay, so we have recorded this transaction. Everything's fine in our journals. We then posted the totals to our creditors control account in the general ledger. However, when we posted this to the individual creditors accounts, we said that the invoice that we received from Slammed Stores was one for Snyman traders. So we just need to remove it from the incorrect creditors account and take it to the correct creditors account. Right, so received from, therefore it must be in his account. It was not from this person or the supplier's account. Right, then the business decided to transfer the balance of summer distributors to the debtors ledger. No entries was made. So remember that we said when we did the debtors that we have to first now record an entry if it's not there at all. So once I record an entry in my subsidiary journal, I must still post it to my general ledger, and then I must post it to my creditors ledger. So I am now saying that I no longer want this creditor with a debit balance. Okay, so it's a creditor who currently has a debit balance. So in order to get rid of this balance that I have, so this, frack, there we go. So this is what I have here. I have a T account, and now my line is not lining. Oh, because I'm in the, oh, there we go. Okay, so I have this creditors account, creditors control. We'll just ignore that random double line there. Creditors control. And I'm saying that this one creditor, his balance is 260 Rand on the debit side. I don't want it there because my creditors are liabilities. They should have credit balances. So I'm now going to go in the GJ and I'm going to transfer this amount, this 260 Rand. I'm going to transfer it to his account in the debtors control account. So I would rather reflect this creditor with a debit balance as a debtor. So in other words, I'm crediting his account to get his account to 0. Because to get out of the debit, I need to credit. So that's why in the GJ, I'm saying debit, debtors control, credit, creditors control. And that makes this a journal credit of 260. Then, if it's now in my GJ, I've posted it to my general ledger. I also have to post it to my creditors ledger. Okay, right. Then invoice 231 received from Tobias Traders for merchandise purchased on credit for 2,300 Rand. So read that again. You received an invoice from Tobias for credit purchases of 2,300. This was incorrectly recorded in the CJ as 3,200. So you said that you owe this creditor more than what you actually owe the creditor. So you now need to go and remove the amount that you incorrectly included in this account. Remember, you may not now go to the creditor's journal and have a negative 900 Rand there. We are not allowed to have negatives in our journals. Therefore, if I can't now do it in my CJ as a negative, I'm going to go to my CAJ and I'm going to say, I have to record that I actually didn't receive this trading stock of 900 Rand. And then you need to keep in mind that I now had to record this in my journal. I then posted this to my general ledger, which means that I also have to go to my creditors ledger and I have to show that I actually don't owe him that 900 Rand because I only purchased goods for 2,300 Rand. Then number 4, the business returned some spares bought for a delivery van to the value of 860 Rand to Snyder's Motors. The amount was correctly recorded in the creditors allowances journal. So in the creditors allowances journal, it is correct. And then the only error that came in is when I then posted that to the creditors ledger. So in other words, the creditors list, I posted this return as a new credit purchase. So remember from debtors, whenever you made a mistake, first fix what went wrong. It shouldn't be a credit purchase. It was a return. So remove it. I don't owe them the money. Plus, I must then record and post the correct entry, or then the correct entry was my creditors journal. I must just change that posting to my creditors list because I made a mistake. So here I have my error, correction of error, shouldn't be a new credit purchase. And then I must further now actually post the correct entry of 860 Rand to this creditor's account. Then Tobias Traders supplied goods to Ward Traders and also buys from Ward Traders. So in other words, we trade with each other, both buy from each other, and therefore we both owe each other money. It then says that the credit balance of 640 Rand on their account in the debtors ledger must now be transferred to the account in the creditors ledger. So we are Ward Traders. And they are saying that in our books, in the debtors, so you now have a debtors control, debtors control, they are saying that you are sitting with this one creditor who is also your debtor. And in the debtors side of his account, he has a credit balance. So brought down 640 Rand. So in fact, he doesn't owe you money, you owe him money. Because remember, debtors who owe you money have debit balances. This guy over here has a credit balance. So they now want you to remove this credit balance from the debtors control and rather show it as the liability that it is in your creditors control account. So in other words, to get rid of this in the debtors control, I need to debit in the GJ, I need to debit this debtor, and therefore I'm going to credit my creditors control. Okay, so this is a new entry in my general journal. Therefore, I first need to post it to my creditors control account. So I'm adding on to what I owe because this debtor maybe made an overpayment. So now I owe him money. Therefore, he becomes a creditor. And then I have to go to his account and I have to say that I owe him a further 640 Rand. And that was it. So now we just calculate our totals here and we balance our ledger. So no changes to the sundry purchases. Looking at the journal credits, we added on to that. So that's now 2,190. Oh my gosh, this thing is lagging. And then over here, we have 32,400 plus 1,580, so 34,250. We also didn't change our journal debits, and then 3,008. Come on, come on, calculator. So 2,010 plus 900. Ooh, how's bells? What happened there? 2,018 plus 900. As you can see, 3,008. Okay, so now we balance the account. So we add everything on the credit side to get the total. Credit side is the bigger side. So we take the total of the credit side and we write it on both sides in the total column. Then we subtract what we have on the debit side, the smaller side, so minus 34,250 and 3,008. So we actually owe our creditors a lot more than what we thought we owe them, I think. Can't even remember what that balance was. Okay, so come on. Did it now not take that? 12,362. 12,362. So that is our balance at year end that we are carrying down. So on the 1st of December 2023, silly fingers, December the 1st, my balance or down is 12,362 Rand. Then I do the same with my creditors list to see if I balance. So 3,890. I'm telling you, 3890 minus 900 plus 640. So 3630. Over here, we added, so 2,780 over there. And then 4,512 minus 1,480. So we have that one over here for Neyman. And then we have 4,640 minus 860 minus 860. So 2,920. I'll be there now. 2,920. And then the last one doesn't owe, we don't owe him anything anymore because we transferred that account. So let's just quickly add the totals here. See, I'm in a hurry now, and now I'm making silly mistakes. Plus 3032 plus 2920. So 12,362. I hope it's the same. Otherwise, I made a typo somewhere because I'm in a hurry. 12,362. There we go. Okay, so that is the creditors reconciliation.